Okay.
All right. Well, welcome, Dr. Patel. I know, as I've shared with my community, these I'm looking to put together a series of videos talking about some of our profile of our graduate skills and how important they are in the work that we're looking to do here at Merrimack, but also across the district. So as I was thinking about that, I thought, well, who might be the best person to lead this? And I thought that it would be very important for everybody to hear from the leader of our district and thinking about the work that we are all doing with regards to the profile and some of the how that profile skills and some of those things may speak to you and speak to us as a district, but also to you as an educator and a leader. So I know you and I have had a chance to kind of work together over several years. Like I said, I've known you for a while when we were together in Rockwood. I used to send students to your middle school. I think you may have even been my own child's principal for a while at one point in time. So, we've had a chance to kind of work together a little bit. But now that you're here and you're in Clayton, so now that you're kind of halfway into your second year in Clayton, how would you say it's going? Is it about what you thought it would be? So other than maybe some of these crazy elementary principals, have you found anything that's really stood out or been kind of unique to you?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me to be a part of this conversation, Patrick. I really appreciate the opportunity. Anytime we get to talk about our profile, I think it's great that we have these conversations. So yeah, we can start off with the crazy elementary principals. I don't know, we could talk about that all day, but I know we have a limited time. But I would say second year, it's going great. It really is. I always think of that. I have that quote on the board, that if you love what you do, you don't have to work a day in your life. And I truly believe that. And I am in that spot. Like, I'm in that zone. I love it. It's everything what I thought it would be, obviously being in Rockwood and Fox, and then now coming to Clayton, everything I thought Clayton would be and more. So of course there are unique surprises with everything, right? The teaching and learning is exceptional. That's the foundation of what we do, and we focus on that. I expected that, and I love that it is that and more. The uniqueness is what makes Clayton Clayton, right? Like the homecoming parade and how we all get in the cars and we go all the way up to Gay Field, and such a community event. I love that. All the elementary Halloween parades. Like, that was like unique here. I'm like, this is so amazing. And then the school spirit that you see and all our kids, oh my gosh, they're phenomenal. Like, they impress me every single day. I was at the Y Down Middle School just last week, and I happened to go into a classroom, and one of the students was just sitting there writing, and she explained how she wrote a piece and it ended up being published in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch as an editorial about Thanksgiving and truly the meaning of Thanksgiving. And I'm like, incredible.
Yeah,
So those are the things that
that's
just,
a little different than what I was doing in middle school, probably, I think.
yeah, that's exactly. I'm like, I don't think I was doing that, but that's great. That's what makes Clayton Clayton. I love it.
So as I listen to you, and I mean, just like I said, knowing you and listening and getting a chance to kind of work with the last couple of years, I know that what's one of the things that's really important to you is not just helping kids or prepare them to be successful now in the classrooms, but thinking about how they can be successful in life and really setting them up with those things. So, that may be things like different character ed programs, Leader in Me, some of those things. So then, but as you look at our profile of a graduate in our strategic plans, like, what are your thoughts and how do you feel like it really aligns with your philosophy of education?
So when I think that's one of the things that I was so excited about the school district of Clayton is our strategic plan, right? You put it in simple words, a place for everyone to grow as learners in head and heart. And then we have our profile of the graduate, which I've said a couple of times now, it's like our North Star, right? If you talk about beginning with the end in mind, if we want every kid to leave with these competencies, what do we need to do with that? So for me, that's why it's exciting. I love what I do. It's completely aligned to what I believe in as an educator, as moving continents to come here to learn, to basically get a good education. And I wish, sometimes I think about it, right, Patrick, and we have so many conversations about this, and academic excellence is an expectation. It's the foundation. So I wish I could have like a banner made that goes everywhere in one of those airplanes that has a flying thing that basically says, and both. It's not either or, it's and both. So it's academic excellence and making sure our kids are given every opportunity they can get when they leave us, right? We are in a time when you have data and information coming at you 1,000 directions. To me, like we have to get our students ready to be able to navigate that world and navigate it not only with the skills that they have, but also just what we're talking about in the competencies, like those specific being culturally competent, being intellectually curious, critical thinker, collaborator, like those are life skills, right? And so if our kids can leave with that, I mean, phenomenal. So when we think of all this information coming their way, it's a non-negotiable skill now that we have to give them. Like it just is to be ready.
The world has changed to where those are the things that in order to be successful, they're going to need.
Yes, absolutely. And more, like colleges, universities are looking at that too. Like it's not just what's on your transcript, it's what's on your transcript and what else you can do with the world.
Yeah. So as you kind of look forward, what impact or where do you see the profile of a graduate going in the next few years? And what are some of your hopes? And, what would you kind of look at and say, if you start to feel it's moving in the right direction, what are some of those markers that you may be looking for?
So as I said, the exciting part about having a strategic plan and a profile like this is we are doing some amazing work. The challenge that comes along with that is how do you actually make it happen, right? Like the quote, right? A vision without execution is a hallucination. So we have the vision, we have the idea, the end in mind, but how are we actually going to work towards that? So it's like, how are we making it part of our grade, like our reporting to the parents and the community? Like this is how the child is doing. How are we moving the needle in making sure that they are more empathetic or they are the journey towards culturally competent? So those are all conversations we need to have, and we need to be open to not only looking at quantitative data, which I believe has to be there. It is definitely there, but we also need to look at data in a different way. Like maybe it's listening tours, maybe it's a small focus group and we pull kids in and they give us information. Maybe it's captured, we hope, in a digital portfolio that carries along with you. So starting third grade, you have a digital portfolio that's aligned all the way through the time you graduate. And every year you're adding evidence of how you're growing. And then at parent-teacher conferences, you're sharing that, right, with the educator and the parents. And look, this is how I'm getting better at this. So looking at different ways of capturing that, I think that's our hope in the next few years with our strategic plan and the profile. Right. So it's transformational, no doubt, but it also comes with the challenge of making sure everyone is understanding how we measure that.
Right. So I mean, as I'm just kind of listening to you, what I hear you saying is both from your personal philosophy, the philosophy of the district, what we're looking at are some of those skills that we, like the academic skills, the quantitative skills, they're all still going to be at the center of everything that we're doing. They're still at the heart of all those pieces, but some of those things may already be like they're already a part of our system. But what we need to start looking at is how do we bring in these other skills that we know our students need and start to think about that as a district. How do we give those to the students, focus our work on some of those things, and then collect the evidence that we're actually doing what we say we want to do.
Correct. Exactly. And we talk about empowered learning a lot, right? If we want our kids or everyone to grow as learners and we're empowering them, like how are we measuring that and capturing that, which eventually leads to the competencies?
All right. So my last question,
okay,
I'm hoping to ask to everybody is there anything that you are kind of reading right now, listening to, or watching that you would recommend for everybody to check out?
Oh, wow. So the good thing about being in this district is you're surrounded by learners, right? So I'm getting books from different people all the time. Like they're like, hey, you should read this book or listen to this podcast. Someone might be on the screen right now with me who is sending me stuff constantly, which I love. I love getting that. So one of the things I'm reading, I think I put it away in my bag, but I received a book, Think Again, and Clayton High School is actually doing a book study. Some people volunteered to be a part of it. So that's a great book that I'm reading right now. So I'm like halfway through it, not where I wanted to be, but getting there. So that's one that, I'm sorry.
You have a few things you're doing. So I think
So I'm getting there. I'm reading that. And then of course I have to give a shout out to Abbott Elementary.
Oh, yes.
And Ted Lasso. Those are my fun things I get to do.
When the next season's coming out, so it's good.
Thank you. Me too.
All right. Well, thank you for taking a few minutes just to do this. I know my community here at Merrimack is going to be happy to hear from you, and it's a great way to get this started for me. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Take care.